All right, guys, we're here for another day. We've got Don from Drone On today. We're going to talk about the Canadian regulations and what's been changing. I might have to change my camera angle when I come back on camera. But I've got Danzilla here, of course. So always have our local homie, our friend, our co-host. Good to see everybody in the chat.
Kids? Good to see you all.
So let's bring him in with no further ado and get this show rolling. We were already talking a little bit in the chat, and yeah, it's got lots of great information for us. For us FPV guys, I mean, Don does a lot of the DJI world, but he's also involved in the FPV side, and that's why we keep bringing him in. And he's also listening to us too. So, guys, have any questions, please shout out in the chat. And yeah, no calls. I haven't heard from him.
He's definitely an asset keeping us all out of trouble. We might not fly the same drones, but listen to him. He'll keep your ass out of jail.
Yeah. And you know, as Marcel said, I don't fly FPV drones much. In fact, not at all. I would love to get into it, but just have never really gone that way, gone into the dark side or the better side or whatever it is. I like being in these conversations because, you know, you at least fill me in with the gaps, and I watch your videos and I can see some of the issues that you're facing and stuff like that. So I like being here. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we love having you, man.
We should figure out how to get him a bind and fly sent. Get him a DJI.
Well, you're the one in Ontario. We'll have to figure something out. Yeah, we've got a couple sponsors. We can figure out something. I thought you had a tiny whooper, like a little drone or something.
Oh, I have a couple of tiny drones, but they're not FPV really.
No, not FPV.
And certainly no goggles or anything. So
all right, we'll have to get you something going on here.
I have some virtual reality goggles, but not quite the same.
No, not quite the same.
The only thing that's interesting with those is tracking.
Yeah. So your last video that I watched, I mean, I've watched all your videos, but the one that I'm referring to is the advanced changes. You want to talk a little bit about that in the beginning of the stream, and then we'll work towards some other.
Yeah, sure. I won't repeat everything I said in the video, but
no,
the headline, if you like, is that Transport Canada has been auditing these declarations that various manufacturers have had about their drones. So the way it works is if you are flying an advanced operation. So as you know, there's sub 250 gram drones. There's and then anything above that, you're either a basic pilot or an advanced. So if you're in an advanced situation, so you're in controlled airspace or closer than 30 meters to people, or near a certified airport, which people seem to forget all the time. That also you need to be an advanced pilot for. So if you're doing an operation like that, you also need to be flying a drone that is approved. And I say drone, I know there's RC aircraft and everything else, but so when I say drone, I just mean anything that Transport Canada considers an RPAS. So if you're doing an advanced operation, you need to fly a drone that's on a special list. And this list, and if you're an American visitor, just know, yeah, pretty much. You
got your own set of problems doing there.
Yeah, exactly. So, there's this what I call the magic list, and it's on the the Transport Canada drone safety page. You really have to dig for it, but if you find the section that's called choose the best drone or choose the right drone or something like that, that's where this list is hiding. And basically it's a long list. There used to be 600 and some odd, 650 roughly entries on that list, and for each entry it's a model. Oh, look at that, you can just do it like that and show it. So you slide down a little bit or scroll down and you can see the list. Keep going.
I'm already on page 8. I've been looking through this today, actually.
Yeah. So as you can see here, there's manufacturer's name and models. So these are all, so for example,
what is a rotary wing?
So a rotary wing is basically a quadcopter or a hexcopter or anything like that.
Right.
As
That's
opposed
a
to a fixed wing, which there's one of those at the top of that list and now at the bottom of the list. So that'd be like an RC aircraft kind of thing. And then there's hybrid, and those are the ones that tend to go up vertically like a quad and then flip over and fly on their wings. So,
which we call a VTOL, I believe.
Yeah, that would be another word for it. That would be a better name than hybrid. But TC doesn't like.
And a rotary wing, like why can't they just call it like a racing drone or something like that, or
multi-color?
Multi-rotary. Like that's always been a thing. Yeah.
Well,
it's such a weird because there's no wings on it, right? Like it's totally not a wing.
But a helicopter it's always been called a rotary wing aircraft.
Oh, okay.
Helicopters too.
Yeah, if you
because the rotors are wings
from the aviation world, then yeah, but most of us don't. So rotary wing just sounds like, what the hell is that? Why are their wings going in circles?
Right.
Anyway, on this list, so you can see every model that's been declared, and then there's the 3 columns at the far side on the right for whether or not it's approved for. All right, sorry, eligible for. I'll get the right word. Flying in controlled airspace near people, which is anywhere between 5 meters and 30 meters away from bystanders, and then over people, which is within 5 meters of a bystander. So the idea is you're not allowed to do an advanced operation for, say, controlled airspace unless the model of drone you're flying says yes on this little list. So it seems fairly straightforward. The catch is, and the weird part of this is that in order to get on this list, the manufacturer only has to submit a statement to Transport Canada, what they call a self-declaration, that says they meet the specs for doing one or more of those types of operations, controlled airspace near or
hand on your heart.
No, they don't even ask for that.
I promise.
No, it is. It's worse than that. It's like you could be like going like this when you submit it, and you would go on the list, and so the kind of principle here is self-declaration with an audit as the means to police it, in quotation marks. So they're basically saying we want to make it easy for people to get on this list. Just one second. So they want to make it easy to get on this list to keep the industry moving quickly, because if they actually went and analyzed each of these submissions, it would be weeks or months or years before they actually got on the list. So self-declaration thing in principle is a good thing. The problem is that companies have put their names on these or done the self-declaration and are lying through their teeth, or haven't done, or at the very, I'll say optimistic side, they haven't got the documentation to back up their claim that it meets the spec for over people. Because this controlled airspace is easy. You just have to be within 10 meters of where you think you are, and that's pretty easy. Near people and over people, there are fairly simple specs that say you're not allowed a single point of failure, or in the case of over people, a multiple points of failure won't result in or are unlikely to result in injuries to people. So in order to prove that, it's pretty difficult, and they've got a long spec to explain how to do the tests and so forth. So the expectation is, when TC comes knocking and saying, okay, Mr. Drone Studio with your Visionaire X8, show us the documentation that says that you meet the spec, and otherwise we're going to take your name off the list within 30 days. And so about something in the order of 15%, or about 100 different models, got tossed off this list some point, I guess it was 2 weeks ago now. And So two main categories. One was all of the Autel drones, or Otel, or however you pronounce
Right.
it, which is probably the biggest competitor to DJI for camera drones and things like that. They got turfed. And the second thing that got turfed is a parachute recovery system called let me remember that name. Fly Fire. I always want to say Firefly, but it's Fly Fire.
It's a good show.
Yeah. So those guys got tossed, and they had a lot of models on theirs, and according to someone who is very reputable in this area, nothing that they can determine says that that this Fly Fire thing met the spec. So there is a lot of concern that, the Fly Fire company at least put out a statement that they met the spec, and there was no frickin' way that they did, let alone have test results. So a lot of people are pretty ticked off because this Fly Fire system was relatively cheap. I think, I don't know, somewhere around $100 or so, and you'd meet the spec, and you'd be able to fly over people and do all sorts of great things. And suddenly, and it might have been a lot more than $100. I'm not even sure. I'm sure somebody in the comments will say, "Wait a minute, it was $350." But whatever it was, you basically got ripped off. False advertising, all the rest of that. Yeah, so that's nasty. And of course, the Autel one, that doesn't make any sense at all. They were declaring, at the best of my knowledge, at least, only for controlled airspace and near people, not over people. That's the over thing is almost always a parachute system, because you can't have any speed when you're dropping out of the sky if you're flying over people. So the Autel drones, like the DJI drones, were, to the best of my recollection, all just kind of in the controlled and near people list. And they got yanked. Nobody knows why for sure. Autel is very aware of the problem. It is entirely possible that when Transport Canada tried to contact Autel, that the contact name that submitted all their declarations had left the company. And so, all these emails from Transport Canada saying, "You got 5 minutes to answer or we're yanking it."
Right.
30 days originally, then they gave them an extension. But if it just went into a dead email box, then maybe that's the reason that they got yanked and didn't answer to the call. But I am sure that they'll be back within some reasonable amount of time. But I just checked before this call, and they're still off the list. So
wow.
Yeah. So scary stuff. If you look at this list, and like anybody like me, I would look at it and say, well, this is the TC list. You read it mentally as an approved list, even though it isn't. It's just a list.
Trusted as a government agency. What you're allowed to use, what you have to use, and what's not going to get you in trouble. Now everybody with that thing is going to get in trouble if something happens.
Potentially.
Can we go back to that list for a moment? I just wanted to ask something about the list in particular.
When you're going back to the list, let me answer Robert Ortlep's question. He says, "Can you mention how can Captain Drone fly over anyone in all of his videos?" Well, the flying over and near people thing is bystanders. So if you are not a bystander, which means that you are aware of the risk, you've been told, or you are somehow aware that you're flying over them or near them, you don't count as a bystander. So it doesn't matter what you are. So you can fly over yourself, for example, or if you have your friend standing beside you saying what a cool drone it is, you can fly over them. And that's basically what Captain Drone and anyone else who's in that kind of a situation is doing.
Yeah. Not the big crowd.
Okay, so back to the list. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I noticed on there was some, like, a 7-inch cinematic and a 5-inch FPV drone. How do you get a custom drone on there like that? Are they the
same way?
Are they
the exact same way? You get the form from Transport Canada, which is I think it's on here. So yeah, there it is. Declaring your drone for.
So these are probably bind and flies, right? Because if it's a custom built, you can't get pre-approved, right? Like it's.
But there is
like
no.
If I wanted to get my, or whatever, if I wanted to get on this list, you know what I mean? Like if I have my 5-inch freestyle drones that I always build the same, but is there? It's not like I wouldn't go out and buy one of these. How do you? Yeah, I guess you can't. Can you get your own on there, custom ones on there?
Yes. Yeah, now, okay. I wouldn't encourage you to do that without reading the entire spec, but.
Well, yeah, no, for sure. I'm not planning on it. I'm just curious how, like.
Yeah, in fact, and again, I don't want to encourage anyone. Yeah, sorry, I talked over you.
No, I was just wondering if they're mass produced or, one-offs
I know
available.
I know there are some on there that are one-off, self-made, not self-made drones, but somebody's made them themselves, and they've self-declared. And I don't want to encourage anyone to do this, because if you self-declare and they check and you don't have the data to back it up, your test results or anything like that, then you could be fined $3,000 as an individual, or if you're a manufacturer, up to $15,000 per entry on that list. So you don't want to screw around. But I'll say this, as an experiment, someone, and I don't know their name, and it wasn't me, asking for a friend kind of thing.
Wasn't me either.
It wasn't you. Somebody, since all of this audit has been going on, so while TC is kind of all sensitized, they submitted a completely bogus submission, completely bogus, declaring that their aircraft was eligible for all three of those things, including over people, with no data, nothing. No hand on the heart, just literally just, let's see if this works. And within a very small number of days, like less than a few days, it appeared on the list. And I believe they've now taken it down voluntarily. But it is as simple as that, and it doesn't seem to, like, all of this audit that's going on does not appear to have caused Transport Canada to become any more diligent about looking at the submissions. It's like, oh,
right,
Joe Blow has a block of a cinder block, 8 inches, excellent, and it's safe to fly over.
There you go. We should just submit, instead of a parachute, we should submit a self-destruct system. Can't hurt anybody if you just find little bits.
Yeah, blow it
vaporize your own.
Yeah.
Poof.
So so that.
Sorry, what if it was like a skier? A drone was like a skier. You know how skiers, when they crash, everything just goes everywhere. Poles go that way, a ski goes that way.
Arms and legs, and
our drone just dismantles itself.
Yeah. Well, it's not totally stupid. I mean, it's almost that.
It's pretty stupid.
Yes.
I've had much sleep today.
Nomad brought it up in the chat earlier too. I had another. Oh no, I have another question, but it might not be about the list. I don't know.
Can you register a frisbee with the FAA? Just fine. Nobody cares. That's hilarious.
You got to have numbers on it, though, right?
Right.
Registry.
Yeah, sure. Why not? The other thing that's going on, that just as a piece of news, if you like, unless there's other questions on here that I've missed that
I haven't seen yet. No.
I see Nomad says it was him that submitted. Okay.
Yeah.
Frag grenade. Excellent. Yeah.
That breaks the first rule. No explosives, right? No.
Well, there's
explosives.
Yeah. But if it's built into
I don't think there's any approval you can get. I don't think there's any approval you can get from Transport Canada that will allow you to put a grenade on a drone.
I'm pretty sure that's generally frowned upon as not a best practice.
Even the Prime Minister couldn't get approval for that.
So unless there's anything else, but we can go back. The other thing I thought I'd mention tonight is that with all the new regulation proposals that are coming out, supposedly at the end of this year for taking effect April the 1st of next year, 2025, we had all these consultations and opportunities to write in comments and Q&A sessions and all that kind of stuff from, I don't know, I think they started in June and they went through till October or something like that last year. So Transport Canada has published a What We Heard report, and I've been going through it. I'm going to be publishing a video on that in the next couple of days. I did publish my own report on all the comments that had been submitted, and there were like over 300 comments, and I went through reading every one of them, and it was insane. My eyes were bleeding at the end. But so I've got a video out that summarizes what I saw and highlights some of the more interesting ones. So the Transport Canada What We Heard report is more or less their version of the video that I put out within a few days of all the comments being there. So they've taken sort of a similar approach. They've taken all the comments and they've divided them into 10 different groups or themes, I think they call them. Like they don't have FPV as a theme, which is intriguing to me. But I think it's because there's nothing about FPV drones in the new regulations. So they didn't want to kind of highlight that a lot of people are concerned about FPV drones. They do have a theme called recreational. They have a theme called micro drones for drones under 250 grams, training, fees, and all that kind of stuff. So the last time they put out one of these What We Heard reports, which was in October of 2021, at the beginning of this whole new regulation thing, it was 7 pages, 4 of which was just fluff, including the title page. There was no author on the title page, which just made me furious because I come from the tech world where accountability, you put out a report, you better have your name on it. You know, it's fine to say, oh, it's Don Joyce and team or something like that. But you got to put a name on it because that's the person.
Goes all the way back to high school, man. You put your name on your paper.
Yeah. I mean, otherwise, you know, they don't know who to, you know, whose head to put on the stake, you know?
The world will just fall apart.
Right. And there was no date on that one either, which just, again, infuriated me. And they had this, and they had this lovely drone picture of I think it's of the Fraser Valley or something like that. And on the cover. And I Googled it. I did one of these Google image search things. And it's a freaking Adobe stock image that they paid $105 for. Just infuriates me that, you know, that they're paying for images that they could have held a contest or just said, hey, send in your pictures and you pick one randomly, you know, whatever. But they didn't even do that. So, So anyway, I put out a video back in October of 2021 about the first What We Heard report. And I actually watched it just yesterday, and it was actually like, holy crap, did I actually say that? You know, because I just reamed them a new one about they claimed in that report that there were some website that talked about the proposed regulations. So I thought, well, that's weird. I've never heard of that website. I went to the website. There were a whole bunch of different Transport Canada reports, but nothing about drones on that list. It was just an outright error. I'll be kind. But, so and everything in this little section that was actual meat, you know, 7-page report, take out 4, you know, context and conclusion. You ended with 3 pages. It was all just fluff. I actually said in my video that I think somebody sitting on a bus without access to any of the comments could have written the same thing. You know, it was like the Saturday Night Live. I'm just going to call it in sketch. You know,
wow,
it was insane. So I just tore it to shreds. This report. So that was back in 2021. This report obviously listened to my video because they put a date on the report. They put a title on the report. They didn't put a name, so they're still getting, a black mark from me from on that
committee.
Yeah. But then, and it's how long is it? 14 pages. So much bigger than last time. Still has 4 pages of context and conclusion, which is fair. You got to do that in a report. But they've got 9 pages of actual meat where they have gone through all the comments. They've categorized them into these 10 themes, and they talk about, some of the top things. And the number one thing that they talk about is for this extended VLOS thing, which is where under the new rules, someone with an advanced pilot certification can fly their drone up to 2 nautical miles, so almost 4 kilometers away, as long as you have a visual observer who can see the airspace. So, on this background behind me, for example, that would mean that if I was flying from my house, which is right there, just above my name there, unless
man, that's a sweet spot.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it awesome? You could fly to the far end of the lake legally, as long as you had somebody able to see the airspace. They don't have to actually see your drone, but they have to know where your drone is and be able to
the area.
Yeah, so that when the helicopter comes across, that you can poke your pilot in the shoulder and say, "There's a helicopter, get the hell out of there." So yeah. So
I thought that funny because the visual line of sight thing, like when I'm flying around here and I'm listening for because there's bush planes that come through and guys that land on the lakes and stuff like that. I'll never see them, but you hear them long before you see them. You know what I mean? Like I could tell you a plane's coming like 5 minutes before it even gets close, and like, oh, here comes a plane, better land. Like
with one exception, with one exception. Yeah, you can usually hear them, but there's one exception, and that is seaplanes, and I've experienced this.
They
planes coming in for a landing. They are, I don't know what the technical term is, feathering or whatever, and you can barely hear them coming in. So I've had planes come over my house, not when I was flying a drone, but over my house, like maybe 100 feet in the air, and land on the lake right behind me here, and you wouldn't know it until you felt the pressure of their wings over top of you.
Wow.
Yeah, around here there's a few of those. What do they call them? The aerodromes, I guess, which are the places for seaplanes to land or water places. They're not real airports, so I guess they're still sort of controlled airspace. I can't remember the.
No, they're not controlled airspace. They're unregistered aerodromes, and the only rule about that kind of thing, like for example, I think there's only one left. There used to be 2 people on my lake that had seaplanes. Those would be considered unregistered aerodromes. They're an aerodrome because planes land and take off there. They're not registered because they're not in the magic list called CFS that shows where these things are. But so the only rule is that you have to be aware of them, be careful and not get in their way. And that's all.
Keep your eyes peeled. Keep your eyes and your ears peeled.
There you go. Yeah. Common sense. Somebody said something about ADSB. So ADSB, so that don't ask me what that stands for, but it's basically a transponder that can be mounted on an airplane, on a manned aircraft. It's illegal to put it on a drone, by the way, but you put it on manned aircraft, and it transmits a signal that says all the normal stuff. So sort of the
it's remote ID.
It is sort of like remote ID for manned aircraft, except it doesn't tell you where the pilot's house is. So, So planes that are equipped with ADSB are fantastic because you can use all sorts of apps to bring up a visualization of the airspace, and you can see the planes going over, and you can click them, and you can see, oh, that plane's at 13,000 feet, and it's traveling at such and such a speed, and it's going from Vancouver to Toronto, and all that kind of stuff. There's things like Flight Radar 24, for example, a free app that you can bring this kind of stuff up. And I've used it a lot just for fun. In fact, Larry Dunkelman and I were going to put an ADSB thing into Drone Pilot Canada. the catch is that getting the data feed for these things is not free. It's incredibly expensive. So these free apps are doing it because they have advertising. Automatic dependent surveillance broadcast. Well, that helps a lot. So the catch is that ADS-B is not mandatory. So all the airliners have it. It's mandatory for
it is over a certain weight, isn't it?
The different classifications of aircraft, but
your little Cessna, 2-seater Cessna doesn't need it. But
it's not mandatory for all the ones that are hazards to drone pilots. Cessnas, seaplanes, helicopters.
Yeah.
They don't. It's not mandatory to have it, and those are the ones that we would love for it to have.
Yeah,
now,
I'd love to hear a little pontoon plane coming over the hills. I'd love to have
or crop dusters.
Text me when my neighbor across the lake is going to land his plane. You know what I mean? Like, that'd be amazing.
it really would be. And I always thought that it was just, in quotation marks, an expense thing, that these things cost a few $1,000, and for somebody flying a Cessna, Alien Detection and Surveillance Bureau. Yes, that's it. Exactly. No, that's Shadow, Supreme Headquarters Alien Defense Organization. I'm a member of that organization.
There you go.
And I have a secret hideout. Yes.
Amateur Duck Spotting Brigade.
Amateur Duck Spotting Brigade. Yes. I love that. Yeah, and DJI's AirSense on the higher end drones picks that ADS-B up as well, and it gives you a warning.
They can afford the key, the APK or whatever that's called.
Exactly. Yeah. Automatic donut supply box. Okay, we're getting some good.
Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah. So
how much does it cost? You said you thought it cost thousands, but
I thought it does cost thousands to install. I thought it was about 3,000. Apparently, and this is from somebody who claims that they know, in COPA, the Canadian Owner and Pilot Association. So everybody but airline pilots belong to this, apparently. If you own a Cessna, you probably belong to COPA. May or may not want to, but there you go. Anyway, somebody on COPA told me that it's not only expensive, but actually more like 15,000 to install. And for somebody who flies a plane maybe a couple of times a year, they don't want to put another 15,000 into their aircraft.
Is it just a radio beacon?
Yeah.
Broadcasting information. I imagine it would be a radio beacon that would transmit GPS location and like call sign or something.
And a call sign, your tail number and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The catch is this.
That doesn't sound like a $15,000 system, to be honest.
Right.
I get telemetry from my drone all the time, and it costs me $12 in my receiver.
Yeah.
There you go. So in the States, their navigation system is all antenna based, like ground antenna based. So no big deal. You put your antenna on the bottom of your plane, and you get picked up, hopefully, by towers. The Nav Canada system, however, requires you to do that and have antennas pointing upward, because Nav Canada has satellite-based ADS-B receivers for operation in the north and remote regions and all this kind of stuff. So so you have to have all these different antennas of different strength, and
it's a much bigger system.
And different specs than the American specs. So so it gets pretty tricky. And there were some other technical reasons why it's actually not feasible to install it on all the aircraft in Canada. I didn't understand that technical reason, but he claimed that there was such a reason. So so how did we get onto that?
I'm not even sure.
No, we're just talking about rules. ADS-B. I don't remember. I think we were just talking about aerodromes and knowing when planes were coming in and stuff like that.
And somebody mentioned ADS-B in the comments.
Coming towards your lake. Indeed. I had another question for you. I was on Reddit a couple of days ago. Yes, I admit it. and somebody was talking about coming to Canada from the States, and somebody said that it was reciprocal, and that if you have your 107, you could fly in Canada. And I was like, I don't think that's right at all. And I forgot to get back to the guy, but
no,
I wanted to fight that.
It is
I wanted to
absolutely.
check with you. There's no reciprocity at all, either way, either direction, right?
No, there isn't. But
States and Americans can't fly here.
Yeah, it's fairly easy for us to fly in the States because the FAA has the recreational component. That means all you have to do is register your drone and pass that trust exam, which is like is more like a filling out a form than an actual exam.
Yeah,
so
I've heard that one was easy.
It's very easy and very sensible. I might add, it's not stupid. It just asks. It's like questions that are leading questions that mean that Oh yeah. Do you know what controlled airspace is? Oh, I guess I better figure that out before I say yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's easier than like the basic here.
Right. And in order to fly, if you're a foreign pilot, US or otherwise, in order to fly here, you only have two options. Option one is to fly a drone that's under 250 grams, in which case you can just do it. Just don't do anything stupid, but you can do it. And the other option is to apply for a special flight operations certificate, an SFOC, which involves you filling out this form. And I actually tried to fill out that form about a year ago. And I couldn't figure out what the questions were asking.
Oh no.
It was mind-blowing. So I went back to the guy and said, what do you mean by this question? Because it seems to have 3 negatives in it. And I don't know what you're actually asking for. And I explained the context. I want to put out a video that helps foreign pilots fill out their SFOC form. And he said, no, you can't do that. That means you're commercializing this process. So I'm not going to help you. It's like, what the frick?
What?
Yeah, just ridiculous.
That's nuts. Okay, so yeah, no reciprocity. I was like, I'm sure it's right, but I didn't want to kick up a stink because I wasn't 100% sure.
And good for you, because you see so many people say on these forums and in on Facebook and place, things that are out. Sometimes they're right, but sometimes they're not. But they're basically just guessing and spewing stuff where. And then they say, as far as I know, well, yeah,
we've all done it. We've all said shit that wasn't true. And that makes me like, oh, yeah, I was sure that was true, but I guess not. Dope. Hello, should we evolve?
First Squadron, I sent you a link in the Discord if you want to pop in tonight, but we're not going to have a super long stream tonight. But feel free if you want to pop in.
Again.
Yeah. Not that guy. Oh, come on. Kevin's cool. Kevin's actually going to be helping us out with a special project for the Drone Pilot Association of Canada. Ooh, I should stand up higher so that I can point at my boobs. So if he wants to talk about that, he can certainly do so. I don't want to, go. Oh,
totally, yeah.
The logo appears on the screen, just like that. Wow.
We also have a T-shirt we're going to give away tonight, guys. So if you guys want to get on board with the DPAC here, we're going to have a little bit of a T-shirt giveaway. It's an extra large T-shirt, but if you guys want to jump in on the giveaway, we're going to do a little chat about that in a minute here and get some stuff figured out for this giveaway. Certified drone pilot, guys.
Yeah, this is a cheaper way to get your certification. Actually,
just look like you don't do it. It's like T-shirts with the staff on the back. Everybody has a T-shirt that says staff on the back.
Yeah, but I want one that says Witness Protection Program.
There you go.
So Marcel, how is this T-shirt contest working?
So we're gonna do it in the chat, but we're gonna watch some videos while we do that first. So just give me a minute here.
Woo-wee.
If you guys have any other questions for Don or for us, let us know in the chat. Feel free.
Who's all Canadian in the chat there? I see Captain Calgary, First Squadron, Off Grid's here. I guess Brant Ariels is Canadian because he got a
That's
DPAC
Gary
for
who's
Christmas.
near Brantford.
Sure is, yeah.
Brantford. I was born in Brantford.
Oh, is that right? There
Nice.
you go.
Yeah.
That's
I
where my
grew up
mom was
just outside-
born.
I grew up in Ancaster,
Oh, Ancaster. That doesn't
Jersey.
count. Just kidding.
Little town called Jerseyville.
Nice. Jerseyville. Yeah, I think I
500
know where
people.
that is.
There's
500 people,
Jerry
2 stop signs.
Mm.
More cows
2
than
stop
people.
signs. Wow.
2 stop signs, 500 people. Yep.
The village that
Canada
I'm
doesn't
part
like
of
it.
has, I think we have 5
I'm
stop
sure.
signs.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
None that actually
Oh,
impede any traffic. It's
is that
just
an island you live on, or is it a
no,
point?
it's actually a peninsula. Here, I'll move my head.
Oh, it is a
It
peninsula.
starts
Very cool.
down. I can't point.
Right,
Anyway, it starts down
are you
there,
the last
and
one on the peninsula, or the first one on the?
there's
Are you the
actually
last one on the
4
peninsula?
after me. Yeah,
Ah,
yeah. And then there's
what's
a
it
little
like in
gap.
winter?
It's
Like the
basically
roads
it's
and
basically
everything?
2 cigar-shaped lakes with a little gap that
Mhm.
joins them at the end of that peninsula. So it's quite cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Is it a good little road that runs down there? Is it a dirt driveway or?
Well, 2.5 kilometers of it is wonderful, and then the last kilometer, which is where I am, is what I call a very, very poor bobsled track, because some parts aren't slippery.
Wow. Welcome in, First Squadron.
Hey, can you hear me?
Private road?
Hey, Kevin.
Okay. Oh, good.
Hey, man.
Awesome.
There, and the pooch is here. Is it a private road or?
The dirt
Just
part
kind of
is a
zone
private
back
road,
in.
yes. And we have sniper nests. It's all automated, so like the sniper
nest.
firing is automatic unless you have the transponder, and you.
Electrified gate,
Oh yeah,
razor wire.
Pitfalls, yeah. Spears.
HOA president from hell.
Yeah.
Right. So, guys, you've seen, example, you've seen it. Hashtag DPAC in the live chat to enter the giveaway for the shirt. And we've got First Squadron in the house, so everybody, welcome in First Squadron.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How's your day been?
Oh, good. Excellent. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You get any flying in today? Because I know today was a nice day outside.
No. I'm trying to get some flight reviews scheduled because it's been so rainy. I'm kind of backlogged.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. Well, awesome to have you on the stream. If you have anything you want to let us know about, any updates to your training and stuff like that, or if you want to shout out your RPS training stuff, if you have anything new, anything you want to talk about, feel free to go ahead. I'm just going to organize some videos here and get us started for that.
Well, I was talking to Don about that. We're looking at, or I've suggested, and I'm going to be presenting the idea of RPAS pilots becoming a professional organization where we actually take, where we become like any other professional, like dentists, doctors, hygienists. Every other profession kind of represents themselves so that the government doesn't have to. And I think that's one area where we really need to work. And I think that the foundation of that would be good training, right? So accredited programs that then would translate into professional certification. And with professional certification, and we're talking about commercial pilots, that would become, code of conduct, ethics, standards, standards for training, all those kind of things, which if we don't take care of that ourselves, the government will step in and do it for us, which is why most organizations and professions prefer to regulate themselves. And I think this is a theme that just keeps coming up and up, like, oh, we're getting regulated. What are we going to do? And nobody has the answer. And I think we only have one answer, and that's to become our own profession. And again, so I think the foundation for that is good training, so that pilots out there, we're talking about people that are doing it commercially, so they're being paid to transport, potentially people in the future, but goods, right, property. And you want to make sure that your property is entrusted to these professionals and they know what they're doing. So I've been working with Don or talking to Don about this, and maybe a DPAC Pro level, and then with that we could have legal representation, in case we get sued or something, and we could have a code of ethics, and then I think from there we could work on marketing and getting the public support for commercial pilots. And we also talked. I know that a lot of you are recreational pilots, and I do think there needs to be a distinction, right, for those who want to be commercial pilots and those who want to be recreational, because you're not entrusted with the public safety. Well, I mean, aside from safe conduct, but you're not transferring goods or people anywhere, right? But when you go on a jumbo jet, you expect your pilot to be trained and conduct himself professionally, and so.
Usually,
so that's something I've been pushing for, because I really see that no one else really is, looking at this angle, or angle of attack, right? So hopefully, we can get something going with that this year, and I also think that we need to lobby the government, politicians, to say, hey, we're going to grow up now and be responsible adults and take care of our own conduct professionally, and we're going to operate as professionals. So yeah, that's something I'm kind of excited about this year, and something I've been kind of working and pushing for a while. I've got a lot of flack for it, but I think it needs to be done. So yeah.
So we're looking forward to hearing your proposal. It's going to be next Thursday, I think it is, that you're talking to the steering committee of DPAC, and we'll listen to what you have to say, and it'll be awesome. Yeah,
for sure. I don't know if there's that much distinction between us. I think most freestyle guys, we all like pretty pictures. We like making cinematic videos, and I think, I bet you more than 3/4 of us would jump at the chance to get paid to do a drone job. You know what I mean? Whether it's taking pictures of a hotel or, chasing monster trucks for a live feed like Marcel does. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, there's a million things out there. So, we want to be pros too.
You're exactly right. It is a million things. Like every day there's something new, because when people come from
half the drone jobs out there.
There's just anything, right? Like salmon enhancement here in the island, they're coming in for training, because they're going to integrate that into what they do.
It's just the whole wildlife thing, natural resources.
So I think there's going to be more than enough opportunity. It's just that we're at the beginning of, when the internet was new, right? I think the future is quite bright for those that want to get into the profession of commercial piloting, and why not, right? If you've got the ability, So but we're looking at potentially how to produce the credentials, aside from your licensing, right? But I think that Transport Canada makes that pretty clear what kind of training they expect.
I like Nomad's idea of an international guild. We could all have robes and.
Yeah, I mean, and then you have a body that's going to stand up for pilots, to make sure that the road for us to to conduct professionally our trade, isn't restricted by just unlimited, regulation and public discord and things like that, right? So, we've got a lot of work to do, and
confusion. And Gary of Brant Aerial says, "Be careful, a hobby can become work, and it can be drudgery." I want to emphasize that your proposal is not for everyone. It's for those who are focusing on the commercial side and want to be recognized for having a certain level of standard and ethics and all that good stuff. So hobby is great, and that's what DPAC was formed. That's the foundation of what DPAC is all about, is to support and lobby the government for reasonable regulations for recreational stuff, including FPV, including RC aircraft. But Kevin is bringing to the table a different perspective, which is a great perspective. And assuming we're all on board with this and all the rest, it would be wonderful to be able to support that kind of initiative. So.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Very cool stuff, fellas. Very cool stuff.
Yeah. And there's something else that I talked about.
Just trying to give away that T-shirt.
Yeah, we got 8 people so far,
DPAC
guys.
in the chat.
So you put a hashtag DPAC to be eligible to win this cool T-shirt. Whoop! There it is. With certified drone pilot on the back. Sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the other thing we were talking about, Kevin, do you want to talk about that too?
Well, I was gonna talk about we're actually looking at all the bylaws in Canada, specifically those that are restrictive to drones, and then categorizing that and hopefully get it into Don's app, so that when you're in Vancouver, you can look at map pins and find out what the bylaws are in Vancouver, and let's say they permit certain parks but not others. Those would be pinned, and so it's a bit of a data collection process, but I think it would be such a nice thing to have, so that we can check, with the local bylaws, because we have provincial and federal, but there's not much on the on the local. So aside from that,
Right.
We're going to be looking at parks and like also provincial parks where you can fly and where you can't, and basically where you can fly feature within Don's app, which is another good reason to get his awesome app. And I also see that as a good tool to have for a professional pilot, where we can start to put in, integrate the standards of conduct, as well as the mapping and the data, so that there's a one source for the profession. So yeah, again, so we're going to be looking at listing all the parks and municipalities where you can and can't fly. And then we're also going to look at marketing and lobbying those local governments to some kind of, meta standard for drone piloting, and try to convince them that they need to update their laws if they're too restrictive, to allow the future to happen, right? Because drones are just going to increase in society, and I think they will get that. So we'll be going up against the municipal governments with the idea of making life a little easier on the rest of us, or those who like to fly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because I've come across this in Nanaimo, right? It's kind of depressing, that they're so restrictive, right? So those are the kind of things. Yeah, but if we looked at all the cities and kind of went at them at one go as a authoritative government, I think we should go at the angle as a group of commercial pilots that are forming a professional body, and use the authority of that to try to work the angle. Potentially hiring a lawyer, right? Because to deal with our legal matters and stuff like that, right?
Yes.
To represent, so that so that we can have a legal opinion as well, right? Going into the whole to the whole thing. So yeah, I think it's very exciting. DPAC has done an awesome job getting this all started, and I'm thrilled to be part of it, to tell you the truth. And I think it's going to be a real benefit to all pilots in Canada. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so you can thank Don for that. I think he's done a wonderful job.
Thank you. But at the same time, thank you, Kevin, for stepping up to the plate and saying, I'll give this a shot, and I'll direct people who are interested in supporting that to you, and because I think it's going to be more than a one person job, for sure.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
Awesome. I'm loving this footage.
I just noticed this video. This video is in Chilliwack, BC. It looks like you got some competition out there, Mr. Marcel.
This is a guy that started last year, and he's been taking off like crazy too. Yeah, he's got a few subscribers as well.
How far away is Chilliwack from you?
An hour and a half.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Nope.
That looks like a pretty sweet place to fly too.
I have flown in Chilliwack a couple times, but nothing like this, because where he's flying from, he had to hike up quite a distance to get to where he's flying from.
I'm sure, yeah.
The mountains there are nice, but the roads don't go up there as well, so it's tougher.
I've said it before. This looks like one of those videos where you expect to see Julie Andrews dancing across the mountain. The hills are alive. Doesn't it? It kind of looks like that, doesn't it? That Austrian.
Yeah, it does.
It does, yeah. Need a few chalets in there, and maybe a few.
If I saw a chalet, I'd be like, yeah, this could totally be Switzerland or something. Austria. Pretty nice. Oh, that's pretty cool. In Jasper.
Yeah, but don't shoot at a wedding. That's a terrible idea. Somebody's going to get hurt.
Oh, weddings. Don't get me started on weddings. If I never go to another wedding again, I'll be happy. From the time I was like at the end of high school for like, and 10 years after that, I was a wedding DJ. Then for another 10 years, I was a wedding photographer. And then for another 5 years, I was a wedding videographer. I've been to like 1,000 weddings plus in my lifetime. And I never want to go back to another one again.
It's when you see the same bride and groom at different weddings one after another. That's when it gets depressing.
Oh, and weddings are like that. It's so much word of mouth, right? Like you shoot wedding, and the bridesmaids, then they all hire you to shoot their weddings, and you're like, oh, I remember you. Like this is like the 4th wedding we've been to together. You know? Yeah, it's rough. It's hard to do after a while. You really don't. You got to find some weird spot in your heart for love and weddings to not become a jaded, miserable person.
This is Hexy from Ontario/Quebec. I believe he's in Quebec for this thing that he's doing all this footage for. And Nomad.
Yeah, he's been working on rally stuff and that.
Yeah. This is Nomad's edit.
Oh,
cut and grade to the edit.
Okay. So this is Nomad's link.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
It's like driving on my road, except the sideways part isn't intentional.
Yeah, there you go. Come on, that's what you tell. You don't tell people that. You say, "Yeah, I did that on purpose." Watch this. We call this one the Devil's Elbow. Just your driveway.
The first time my sister came to my house, I told her the directions and stuff, and she said, "Yeah, but you didn't tell me the last kilometer was a goat trail."
Yeah. Brilliant.
I love this slow-mo part here. This is awesome.
Yeah,
that is really good.
How fast did he shoot this?
That's AI.
Wonder what his FPS was on this.
With AI, it doesn't matter. It just generates the extra frames for you.
Does it really?
Oh yeah.
Does it look any good? Would somebody like Nomad look at that and turn his nose up? Oh, he did go slower. He did use
120. He says 120 FPS. Yeah. I was guessing 240. But yeah. Okay.
Well, you can reprocess that and make it 240. It's just Wow. Yeah, it's amazing what you can do now with all these AI tools. I've been actually diving deep into the AI thing the last couple of weeks, and matter of fact, in just the last 6 months, the stuff that's changed is unbelievable. It's incredible. You can produce songs, video clips.
Is it drawing frames in between? Is it?
Yeah.
You can see it.
It isolates the object from the background, and then it redraws it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's all neural net and algorithms. But yeah, it's going to take over the. Well, we're going to see a lot of it coming up. Soon. We already have, right?
It's going to get better too, I think. Actually, the entire video is redrawn, every frame.
Wow.
Yeah. The limitations. There's limitations still. There's no doubt about that. They got like face capture. They got mouth capture, but it doesn't get the whole facial performance. And you can sort of, when you watch the video, if you don't see the whole face performance, you're not. It's not. Doesn't have that same realism to it, right?
Right.
But I think that's going to change too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
so you won't even tell
Cool stuff.
if it's an avatar or
vaccines
real thing soon enough. Yeah, I mean,
that'll be
even
excellent,
actors
but
are getting
I'm tired of standing up in front of the camera and talking. So I'm just going to write a script and say, just do this.
Well, people are doing that.
Yeah.
People are doing it, yeah. And they're even
Turns out by some weird twist of fate, Don Joyce becomes the face for Skynet and destroys the world.
Becomes? You mean that's the past.
Don Joyce is like the emperor of the bots.
Yeah, it's true. It's all true. Nobody's figured it out yet.
All right, guys.
Pretty cool.
Last chance.
Oh, it's that time, is it?
Is it? What does that say? 10 entries? Come on, guys.
DPAC?
Oh,
I
there
should,
is
put,
only
my, I should put my name in. I could win a t-shirt.
Got the drum roll ready.
I've got my name in.
Tell me when.
Oh yeah, you can do a drum roll. Yeah, why not?
I can. I got drum rolls.
Do it.
You can't click on my
Do it.
screen, but you
YouTuber.
can control all of this.
Yeah, where's your face? We want to see
face.
Marcel's face.
No, you don't.
He said he was sick, so he's probably covered in snot and disgusting.
What do you got? Spew on your chin? Come on. ADSB.
All right. Drum roll, please.
Drum roll, please go. Oh, the timing was horrible.
Jerry
Bauer.
Congratulations, sir.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Jerry Bauer still here?
Are you still in Florida? Because it's cheaper to ship stuff to the States than it is to Canada.
Is it really? Oh, yeah.
It is. It for some places it's half the price. But
It's crazy.
Hopefully
half the
Jerry
time, too.
Bauer's in the chat.
Some places in like the States think that Canada is like Timbuktu and charge you an arm and a leg for shipping. I can't remember which drone company it was I tried to order something from. And it was a box, no bigger than a shoebox, and they wanted to charge me $75 US to ship it here. And I was like, what?
well, yeah, because you have to feed the dog sled dogs, all of them,
Yeah, like, yeah. Oh man.
I already have two. Well, Jerry, you have to.
Are they the same color? Or are you working on the whole range of tones? I don't know.
You got to realize that my closet, you know, when you open Batman's closet, you just see all the freaking uniforms and they're all the same.
Yeah,
like that's my closet.
It's like all cartoon characters have the same stuff too.
Yes, exactly. My closet is 90% branded stuff.
No, I don't. But Jerry, if you want, we can redraw. Or if you wanted to pick somebody, I guess. But we usually just draw again if you don't want it, or if you already have 3 or 2. You've never been to Flying Club? That's kind of weird.
Batman is a member of DPAC.
It's true. Where do you think he gets these wonderful toys?
Drones are creepy though because they're all.
Let us know if you want us to re-roll or if it's what you want to do with it.
Yeah, should we re-roll, Jerry?
We'll move on to our last video of the night and
tell us what to do, Jerry. Tell us.
Yeah, I've been on for an hour. I'm surprised. Okay, good. At least I made an hour.
You did. You did very well.
You can do it,
all
Marcel.
Right. Looks like Jerry wants. Oh! He says redraw.
Redraw. Oh!
Watch him win again.
Jim's thrown in. And I think he went to bed, so we might have to redraw again. I think I seen him earlier in the chat. He said he was going to bed.
No.
Night all bedtime.
Oh, no.
Are you still lurking,
he's
Jim?
Always gone. We can still send it to him.
He wet the bed, yes. No, he didn't wet the bed.
When
clean your ears out, boy.
Well, thanks, Jerry. They really are. They feel great. So yeah.
Yeah, we could send it to Jim's droning, can't we, Marcel? Do we need him? Be here?
Yeah, usually they gotta be in the chat.
We know him though.
Just not a sound engineer.
So what do we do? Do we redraw or do we?
I guess we'll redraw him because I don't think he's going to show back up. If he does, we'll figure something out.
Jim's is gonna hate himself.
Back on, but he's in bed. He also said in the chat that he had one or two. Danzilla, there you go.
Oh,
there we go.
I don't know. It feels.
Yeah, he's in the chat.
That's the shortest shipping right there ever.
Yeah.
Ontario to Ontario. It's going to cost you like $30. Yeah, probably will be.
Yeah,
$12.
That's hilarious.
Yes, so just send me your shipping address to dondroneson@gmail.com, and
I will. Yeah, I think I've got your email already.
Okay. Well, we have one last video from Don Joyce. He didn't even know I was going to play this, but I find his new relaxation videos very entertaining and very chill, and I enjoy watching them, so keep it up. I think this is a great idea. So we're going to end it with this video, guys, and I appreciate everybody hanging out and being here. Next week, we've got Aeon, who's going to do some tuning tips for FPV drones, and then the week after, we have MacTech from Camera Butter.
I'm looking forward to that, too.
Brother. And then March 5th, we have our community hangout once again. That's quite ahead of schedule, but yeah, we've got a list already growing for March of guests who want to be on the show. So it's awesome.
Sounds cool. And I'll mention a few things as well.
Please do.
I'm on a webinar on March the 2nd for the Camera Store in Calgary. Going to be talking about drone regulations and that kind of stuff with the folks who run the Camera Store. And I hear there's going to be a DJI giveaway of some sort. On February 28th, so the week before that, I'm actually going to be in Ottawa at the Sky Meet that, who runs that? Patrick Foray runs. So I'll be there in person and talking about this, that, and the other thing. I think we're actually going to do it as an interview format. And I like the video of Mars here, or the moon. That's on the lake, just in my picture.
Salt deposits.
Yeah, so I've got a couple of things coming up. There's also going to be in May, when things are actually melted, there's going to be a meetup in Kingston called a Drone Discovery Day on May the 11th. So mark your calendar for that. Right. All of this stuff, or some of this stuff anyway, is in the DPAC Facebook group. If you're not already a member, you can go in there.
And that's linked in the description, guys. All the links are all down in the description. Scroll down. All kinds of great info.
What's that Drone Discovery Day? What goes on with that?
What is Drone Discovery Day?
What goes on at the Drone Discovery Day?
Well, it's kind of a combination of a meetup, like people just getting together and flying their drones, and is open to the public, so that if you're you don't fly a drone, but you want to see what a drone looks like, or maybe even have a chance to try one if somebody's kind enough to do that, you can come out and have a chat and meet people who are real drone pilots and learn things, ask questions, and have a good time. It's just basically a great opportunity to hang out and enjoy.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. Very awesome. Very cool.
Maybe I'll come and join you.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
You should. Definitely you should.
May 11th.
Bring out the 5-inch glass. Ooh, I might have the big one built by then too.
You should, yeah.
The long range one.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Let's see if I can
take out some of your DJI. Yeah. It's all done by AI. It's just AI. Don't worry about it.
Well, speaking of which, everybody see that our poor little Ingenuity drone on Mars succumbed?
Yeah.
It's pretty sad. Every FPV pilot, it's like, dude, you could totally still fly that. Just, crank up the master multiplier in your pits. You can still fly home, man. That thing will still. Yeah. I guarantee you that thing would still fly. I've had way worse props than that. Yeah, I've had worse props than that come home. You know, I've been flying on 2 blades before.
I am surprised that they've given up so easily and not tried. Maybe they have tried and they're not showing us the footage.
I know it's a different animal, but I've literally come home with like a blade missing on 2 corners of my prop, like 2 3-blade props. Now I only have 2 blades, and I've flown it home. So don't tell me that by chopping off the tip of that propeller that you can't fly a little bit more.
It would be fun to see.
Yeah, they could do it. Yeah, get Bardwell to fix it for them. Somebody to tune it. Get Brandon Beans. Get Brandon Beans in there to retune in their PIDs for them.
Yeah,
there you go.
I'm sure he could filter that. He could filter that out. Anyways, it's good seeing you guys.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks everybody. Appreciate everyone stopping by. We'll see you next week, and make sure you check out Don's links down in the description.
Sounds good. All right.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Love you all. See you, Poochie. That shark.
Thank you, everybody.